All right. Islam, we're going to start the class now, and I'm hoping that at some point our board will materialize. I see the stand, but not the board. But what we're going to do first is open up like we always do, or usually do, by reading chapter 25 of the Holy Quran. If you are in agreement, affirm by saying Islam after I read. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you son. As the bonds of affection therefore unite you with thy brothers and sisters, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him out. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole nation, and his care to continue to you all, and your love to each other. Islam, all right. Now, how many people remember what today's class was supposed to be about? How many was here last time? Huh? Well, no, we were supposed to do an oral presentation. I don't remember who. It was like 3 people out of everybody that signed up to do an oral presentation. I don't remember who they are. So, did you read it? Did you read it? And RVBey. So, are you ready? No? All right. Well, that's cool. You got something prepared? Now, this is not about what usually the little exchange that goes on with the ministerial hearing officer. That's not what this is. How many people ever saw anything or had any idea of how a Supreme Court operates? Anybody ever seen or had an idea of how the Supreme Court operates? I mean, when I say how it operates, I mean, like, what's the format? What happens? You know, you go in there, they start the court, and what happens from there? So, see, many of us have never been to the Supreme Court, right? We've never been in the Supreme Court. I know up in this area, everything is called the Supreme Court, but if there's some, what is it? No. If there is arraignment going on, you're not in a Supreme Court. You're not. Because, see, I wish I had my board. Is there any way that we can see what happened to the board? Oh, great. I got the markers. Look at this. And 2 erasers. and the eagle, but no board. Usually, we always seem to find ourselves, having exchange with ministerial officers in a hearing venue. That's not even law, nor is it lawful. And trying to get everybody out of that is a bit of a challenge because that's what we've been mentally conditioned one way or another to deal with, experience, almost look forward to. You know, we gear up for. We're running around. Well, if they say this, what do I say to that? And if they say this, what does it say to that? And I know that feeling because when I first got into this information back in 2008, I was looking for the same thing. I was like, well, what do they say if they say, what do I say if they ask this? Or what do I say if they ask that? And I was looking for this cheat sheet. And you know what? I found some. But what first time I ever went into a ministerial hearing, I never even made it in to even look at the magistrate. never even made it in. So I never got a chance to get in there. So then the next time I got in there, is that the easel? Are you just going to do it like that? That's the easel right there. Yeah. I got erasers right here. Yes. If I got to go down to the bottom of this, I'll be writing on the floor. All right. So anyway, that was the first time I went into a ministerial hearing room. You're not in a court. If they're talking about traffic, family, so-called family court, how are you going to have family court and those are not even your family? They're a totally different family. They're totally different species. They're not the same as us. We may be in the same space, but we are not the same family. Like a dog and cat can be in the same space, but they're not the same family. All right? So we need to recognize that that's not our family. Talk about, oh, I'm having family court. That's not even logical because that's not our family. You don't know our heritage. You don't know our culture. You don't know our customs. You don't know how our bodies operate. You don't know, the significance of hair versus fur. You don't know these things are necessary for us to even contemplate being family in a family court. That's just not ever going to be the case. Another one is tax court. There is no such thing. How do you know these things are, yeah, that's great. How do you know these things are not valid? No. I'm saying, how do you know these courts, the tax, family, traffic, are not valid? Very simple, yes? No, a lot simpler than that. There you go. There's nothing in the Constitution about a family, tax, or traffic court. And all powers must be delegated. That is the Ninth Bill of Rights. All powers must be delegated. Now, when they start talking about, oh, we're going to bring you into traffic court or tax court or family court, the implication is that they are the people and the people are servants because or they're servants or they're employees of a corporation. And the people are not that. Now, there's people that want to talk about, oh, well, if you're melanated and you're not claiming your nationality, you're Negro, colored, or black. That's bull crap. Bull crap. If you got blood running in your veins, you are a flesh and blood being that just needs a little information so that you can be clear about what the hell nationality is. And nationality is not something you can pick and choose. You either is or you ain't. I got something in the mail the other day, and it said, I have been a Moor for a year. No, you've been a Moor since you was conceived in your mother's womb, coming from an Asiatic Moabite mother. That's when you've been a Moor. You've been a Moor from the creation in, what is it? What is it? Oh, the grand architect, Solomon's Temple, that part. You were built in your mother's womb, in that sacred space, that temple, Solomon's Temple with no tools in the dark. So you are whatever your mother is by birth, and no one can give that to you, no one can take it away, and no one needs validated because there's a lot of Moors running around here. They're looking for foreigners to validate that they are a Moor. That is not necessary, because if you did your research, you will find that right in the congressional records, it shows you who was here first and who brought those foreigners into this space, taught them how to live, even saved them from the jaws of death. That's a matter of congressional record. It's not even up for debate. That's what happened, all right? Now, the importance of reading the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in conjunction with the American Constitution, in conjunction with the Articles of Confederation, in conjunction with the Declaration of Independence, in conjunction with the Articles of Association going all the way back to 1774, it is imperative that you read what was going on in 1774, because that is going to tell you the climate of what was going on Moroccan soil, which is called the derivative American soil. American is a derivative of Morocco. This is Morocco, but they changed vowels and letters around, and most people don't know that. But, you know, if you're being educated, if you're being indoctrinated by the employees of these municipal corporations who have established these institutions they call a school, every so often the landmass changes. Have you noticed that? Like when I was growing up, I knew about Constantinople, I knew about Byzantine, I knew about the Ottoman Empire, I knew where it was. And today, that whole strip of land is just called the Middle East. And nobody knows what it was called prior to that. But if you know the names of what it was called prior to that, then you know our history. Our history does not begin and end on this landmass right here that is Morocco, referred to as America. It doesn't begin here. It has its heart here, but it's you know, like the heart in the body, it begins and it expands out. We as Moors are everywhere, and we were everywhere then, and we're everywhere today. They try to confuse us by having us think that, oh, if you was born near the landmass that has on it the corporate construct Germany, that you're German. Or if you were born near the landmass that has on it the corporate construct Great Britain, that you're British. They don't even use the word British anymore. Actually, if you read the literature, it says British subject, but then you see these English people that just came out of nowhere. But most people don't know that the word English in the Oxford Dictionary hybrid. So if you do the history here, it's going to take you all around the world. If you do the history of the Moors, it's going to take you all around the world, because the corporate construct identified as Great Britain, that's run by our cousin. The corporate construct that is identified as France, that is our cousin. The corporate construct that is today identified as Ireland, those are our cousins. The corporate construct that is identified today as Russia, those are our cousins. The corporate construct today identified as China and Hong Kong, those are our cousins. They honor us every year. Every year. So the corporate construct that is identified as Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, all of those are corporate constructs. But the people that live near those corporate constructs and back in the history, they were our cousins. So that's our relationship with our family worldwide. But they try to mix us up by giving us these surnames that really don't apply to us. How many people have done research on their family surnames? What did you find out? It was what? Gaffer? That's a new one. Gaffer. Did you do what did you find out about it? Cuban and Haiti. All right. Family. Poland and Holland. All right. Family. All right. When I say do history, that's great because I did that too. I found out that my father's family actually, their appellation is a derivative of what they refer to as an Irish surname. But you know, the Aboriginal indigenous people of that landmass were never called Irish. That's a new name, just like the Middle East is new. Like, what's crazy about them identifying that long strip of land as the Middle East is now when you go to ask people, oh, well, what's your nationality? They're going to say the Middle East. Because that's what's your nationality? German. But you're not German. German is a corporate construct. Well, what's your nationality? The Middle East. What's your citizenship? The Middle East. Middle East. Where do you come from? The Middle East. No, you don't. You don't come from any of those places. You came out of your mama. So that's where you come from. You come from your mother. Let's never leave mother out of the equation, because the minute you leave mother out of the equation, you have vultures ready to pounce on you, because mother is the key. Mother is the key that opens the door to your nationality and birthright. And anytime you leave mother out of the equation, you will. I don't care what little pieces of paper you have. I don't care what little card you have. I don't care what organization you're a member of. If you leave mother out of the equation, you will get snatched up because she is the key. Devon? It's not just here, honey. There's a big murdering of mothers going on in India. And it's not that much different all around the world, because mother is the key. But look, in order for them to get a grip of the Moorish nation, which is really the Moabite nation, and the fact that it's now called the Moorish nation when it's the Moabite nation because everything comes out of her, is telling. The fact that they call it the Moorish nation when it's the Moabite nation is very telling. See, they had to, and it's, no disrespect to the son, but they had to get the son somehow, some way to turn on mother in order for them to be able to walk in and take over the management of the estate, her estate. They do it, if you research everything. For example, there's a lot of people running around talking about, oh, well, I have a trust and I'm the executor. Well, first of all, if anybody was going to be the executor of the vast estate being the heir, it would be mother. But the term would not be executor, because executor speaks of corporate activity. This is birthright. So it would never be executor. It would be heir or inheritance. You see? That's what it would be, and that's all it can be. So the minute you start talking about, well, I have a trust, and there's nothing wrong with a trust, but see, people need to comprehend the intricacies and the details of a trust before you start running off at the mouth about a trust. And look, that's going to take at least, at minimum, a year study. But you can't even get into talking about trust until you have the foundation down pat. And the foundation is the American Constitution, 1791. If you don't have that Constitution down pat, anybody can come along and steal whatever you think you put in a trust. And that's, or they can trick you into removing it from the trust. And let me just say, there is no divine trust. The divine trust is, I trust that you will honor each other and this land that mother maintains to provide for all her children. That's the trust. And it is not, and that's why it's an express trust, because you can't write this down. All right? When we're talking about the trust, the divine trust is you're not going to throw trash on the land. You're not going to pollute the land. You're not going to pollute the water. You're going to live in harmony with each other and other species. That's the divine trust. So it's not a piece of paper. And it's not something that you're going to write up. And there's so much that people are doing haphazardly, absolutely incorrectly, with the absolute incorrect concept behind this whole trust business. And I know why it's going on, because the vast majority of people have not been educated. Therefore, they're extremely insecure, and they do not think that they can speak their way out of a situation. They don't want to be challenged, because if you're challenged, you have to speak. And most sons have been discouraged from studying from these institutions that make you think that you got ADD, that you can't read, that you can't understand, that you can't comprehend, when you can. You just need a little bit more work, and you need a little bit more patience. And like anything, it has to be done in a loving environment. You're not getting that from these institutions. That's designed to be a crapshoot. You know, throw you up against the wall and see what sticks. Much of it is not going to stick. That's by design, because they don't really want you to be able to think and read and comprehend, because then you can think your way out of a situation. The prophet said, if I can just get you to thinking, you free yourself. So that's not the part of their agenda. Their agenda is to make sure that you are a continuous stream of revenue. That's why they have things like traffic courts, so-called family court, so-called tax court. Tax court? Tax court for an individual? It's so fraudulent, but the vast majority of people know nothing. I don't care what little cute letters you got after your name. You know nothing. Nothing. Because if you did, I want you to, how many people, I know everybody in here got somebody in their family who professes to be super smart. Super smart. He's a mover and shaker. Ask him if he has a registered car, a driver's license, and insurance. And he will tell you yes. And that will be a confession of lack of information, all of that super smartness, and you didn't figure out that you never had to register your private property, and you didn't need permission to travel on the land, and insurance is a maritime instrument. You didn't know that. But you're super smart. I know, I got a couple in my family. My dad is one of them people, because they got a little stock, you know, they got these little stock market things with all of these fictitious numbers, you know. And how is it fictitious? Because if that crashes tomorrow, $300 million becomes zero just that quick. So So people might, they had this with Donald Trump. Everybody, oh, he's rich. No, he's very broke because his whole fortune is based on Federal Reserve notes. Federal Reserve notes by law and definition is simply an IOU. That's it. But guess what? All of these corporations all owe the people because it is them that is privileged to be on this land engaging in any kind of business activity. It's not the people. See, all of this has gotten turned around. Because we started going into their institutions and they started miseducating us for their benefit. And that's why today these prisons are full of our people, specifically sons, because they're revenue generators. Private for-profit prison. Now, what's crazy is that how many people have family members in prison or have ever received mail from someone in prison? What do they stamp on that envelope? Indigent. Now, let me show you why that is absolutely ridiculous. Indigent. The prison is a multi-billion-dollar for-profit industry. Where is the credit coming from? Because there ain't no money. Where is the credit coming from? From who? From the prisoner. The prisoner. The prisoner. No. The prisoner. No, it's not a debtor's prisoner because the people can never be a debtor. It is because of the people that they are able to amass large amounts of credit. So how can they be indigent? Do you know what the word indigent means? Pauper, poor. Poor. How can you be poor? How can you be poor when you're generating a minimum of 10,000 credit notes per day? That's just for sitting still. That's not talking about whatever work they got you doing. All right, now, how many people? That's not 10,000 per day. That's not including, because see, they treat the people like cargo. No, y'all don't hear me. They treat the people like cargo. I've been telling, I get so many mails and letters and, oh, please help me get this, that, and the other. I said, follow the money. Are they doing this for free? Follow the money. They're not doing this for free. Where is the money coming from? Where is it coming from? I know. I'm gonna write some of this down because they call the prisoner, all right, the prisoner, which is really the principal, all right. This is where all the credit comes from. All right, right here. This right here. But they got the nerve to call this person indigent. They get a minimum 10,000 per day just for them to sit. But then they compel them to work. And how do they do that? It's sad to say this. Sad. But you got people who have been extremely mentally conditioned. How do they get you to work? They tell you if you don't work, you're not going to eat well, right? You're not going to be able to get basic necessities such as a toothbrush or toothpaste or what else? What else might you need? Some underwear. If you're a female, a bra. Because I was told that if you get kidnapped and they take you to the prison and you have an underwire bra on, they take the bra. Now you have no bra. So you got to figure out a way to get some finance so that you can buy one of their bras, and one of their bras is not going to cost you $3.48 at the Walmart, all right? It's going to cost you probably $35 at the prison. But let's look at this now. That's $10,000 per day, plus they're making you work. Now, how many people, there was a Law and Order episode that came on a couple years ago where this woman, she kept getting these letters. She kept getting these letters from somebody, and she got very afraid, and she put in a report, and they was like, well, until they physically do something to you, we can't be proactive. So they started doing an investigation. Come to find out that the person that was sending her all of this stuff, like, I sure hope that Gina Taybao, I'm so dating myself with that one. Skin So Soft, let me put it that way. I'm sure hope that Skin So Soft is working for you, or is that negligee really silky against your skin? And so she's wondering, well, who the hell knows what I bathe and wear? It was a prisoner. Sometimes when you call these telephone places and put in an order, you're calling a prison. They are taking the information, but they think that because it's on a screen and it goes immediately, that these prisoners can't take your private and confidential information. But there's such a thing as photogenic memory. And this particular person had a photogenic memory. So he memorized her mailing location, and he was writing her. He remembered what she was ordering, and so he kept writing to her. This is true. This is true. They have these inmates, prisoners, working as the customer service for many corporations today. Slave labor, all right? So let's look at this. They're getting $10,000 per day, plus they're getting them to work for under threat, all right? So what else? I only just found out about this. This is crazy. Telephone. Hold on. It used to be that you can call anybody collect as long as they accept the charge. You can talk. You can't do that anymore. They brought in a corporation. It doesn't matter who it is, because it's another look. The prison is a corporation. This is why it's so absolutely unconstitutional. All right, because the Constitution protects people from infringement of all corporations. So how do they get to have a corporation that is identified as a prison industry and nobody says nothing? Nobody says nothing. I can understand a grain industry. I can understand a steel industry. I can understand a car industry. I can understand a fruit industry, a vegetable industry. How do you get a prison industry? What product and service are they providing? And is it voluntary? It's not voluntary. It's not voluntary. Don't ever think that. It's not voluntary. These people are being kidnapped off of the street simply for traveling. These people are being kidnapped and thrown in prison because foreigners are getting in the middle of their family affairs. All right, these people are getting thrown in prison. Now, I'm not in agreement with it, but if they're sometimes you have these people that they have extreme alcoholic problems, and they're out in the gutter on the street just lying down drunk. They will snatch them up and put them in prison. And if you have any kind of so-called substance abuse, you can go to prison. And the homeless people, this is a prison. Why is there a prison industry on Moroccan soil and no one has said anything? Nothing. And they snatch him up. These are foreigners. This is like I come and I snatch him up and I throw him in that room and lock the door. Now, him and her got to go to court over and over and over to try to get me to release him. It's not gangster stuff. It's unconstitutional. It's human trafficking. All right? Why is it human trafficking? Why is it human trafficking? Why is it human trafficking? Why? Why? Why is it human trafficking? No. It's human trafficking because they are exchanging human beings for income. That's human trafficking. Human trafficking. If you, how many guys have because this is a huge, the whole child support system and the so-called not child protective services, unchild protective services, they engage in this all day long, right? And they pit the mother and the father against each other. Now, I don't care. Look, I have children, and I am not with my children's father, but I'll be damned if I'm going to participate in this right here. I'm not doing that. I don't care what. Now, some sisters are angry at me because I'm telling them, look, you don't need to be participating in that child support fraud. Because here's the thing. These guys, they all look like grown men, right? But they came out of the woman's womb. That makes them some woman, son. I don't care if that's your mate, your sister, your mother, your aunt, your cousin. You're always going to be a son to a female. That's it. Now, if you're a son, that means mama's supposed to take care of you, right? Now, since mama is the heir, how come she is living in squalor? Why is she living in squalor? It's not that she's broke. She can never be poor. Never be poor. Why can she never be poor? She's tied to the land by blood, which means anything that comes out of her is tied to the land by blood. Can the land go away? She is unbankruptable. Unbankruptable, which means anything that comes out of her is unbankruptable, which is why they're snatching up her sons to exchange them for income, which is human trafficking under the prison industry that no one has talked about. What? Now, let me just say this, because people be making it. They be like, oh, well, if they did something wrong, they ought to pay for it. Yes, They should. But who are they paying? Who are they paying? If I hit his car, who shows up? Who shows up? Who gets paid right off the rip? A third-party interloper who wasn't there, didn't witness it, has no business between this claim that him and I had. And they will tell you, well, I'm going to give him a ticket so that your insurance claim can get pushed through. Insurance is bullshit. Bullshit. Because if I hit his car and his car is valued at $10,000, they're going to try and settle for nothing. Oh, was you in the right lane? Let me see the diagram that the third-party interloper drew up that wasn't there. Let me look at his diagram. I ain't asking you shit because I'm trying to get out of paying you. And third-party interloper is going to corroborate me not having to pay you, although you've been paying this damn premium for 20 years. And this is your first accident. It's a scam. Scam. And then they got everybody tripping because you might have a little hoopsie like I have. But you got some good insurance, and your insurance said that if your little hoopsie, your little bucket gets hit, we will rent you. You will get a rental for free. So now everybody is, oh, well, I got that little rental. I'm good. Your rental is only good for a week. But your car is not available, fixed, or you haven't come to an agreement to replace it so that you can be made whole in 7 days, so your rental is gone. What do you want? The whole insurance thing is a scam. It's a scam. Insurance on a whole is a scam. Because here's the thing. If me and him get into an altercation, that's all we need to do is sit down and decide, how can I make you whole? That's why in law, it's always claim versus claim. There is no third party. Everybody's talking about DA and prosecutor. Where in the Constitution is that sanctioned? Because you know why? Now look at this. Look at this. You got the prosecutor, right? No, let me break this down better. All right, no. Let's not go there. Okay, we got person number one who has a claim, and then you got person number two that has the claim, right? These are the original parties, right? But if somebody, because you know, people are quick to run and go call the municipal employee. And everybody is afraid to tell them, this ain't your business. But I guess up here, well, there's no, the sheriff was y'all. So anyway, we got these two claimants. But if somebody calls the municipal employee, you don't have let's see, nope. Hold on, I want y'all to see this. You have a municipal employee. They call them police, right? You have a prosecutor, right? You have an attorney. Somebody, one of these might call an attorney, but let's throw them in here anyway, all right? And you have a ministerial hearing officer, because, you know, these issues never go into a lawful court because the objective is for the municipal corporation to get dollars and possibly inject you into the prison system and clean up. All right? So now, claimant number one steps up and tells his story. Claimant number 2 might go and hire an attorney. So now you got claimant number 1 talking to claimant number 2, but he can't talk because he hired an attorney. So now you got this attorney talking, and he's talking to the prosecutor, and they're talking, and they bring in the municipal police who wasn't even there, and then they all talking to the ministerial hearing officer. Hello, I heard hearsay, yes, thank you. Mr. Municipal employee was not there, so whatever he said, hearsay, strike him. Mr. or Mrs. Prosecutor was not there. Anything that they got to say, they got from the municipal employee. That makes that hearsay. Mr. Attorney is trying to speak for number 2 claimant, but Mr. Attorney was not there. So that is what? Hearsay. And then you got a ministerial hearing officer running his mouth when he's supposed to be listening and making an impartial decision. But the fact that he's talking and he wasn't there makes anything he says hearsay. So in law, hearsay is inadmissible when all of these people is coming with hearsay. All of them. The police, the municipal employee that called the police, he wasn't even there, but he showed up to speak. About what? He's not a party. He doesn't have first-hand knowledge, and being that he doesn't have first-hand knowledge, he cannot speak. That's hearsay. Prosecutor talking, yakety yak, wasn't there, hearsay. Attorney hired by claimant number 2 wasn't there. Got all his information from claimant number 2, but he's talking hearsay. All of these people are hearsay. And let me tell you something else. Municipal employee, police, prosecutor, attorney, ministerial officer, they all work for the same corporation, right? Municipal corporation, they all receive a paycheck from the same place. That's called a monopoly. That's a monopoly. The debt is set against you from Jump Street, so you can't get a fair and impartial hearing, which is guaranteed by the American Constitution, 1791. And these people across the nation is run through this system, don't know jack, but they got cute letters after their name, and they got some super smart person in their family that's paying for the right to travel and their own property and an admiralty insurance card. And meanwhile, look, you got people being run through this system. You're being run through the system to fund the prison history, which nobody talks about, and they get off of this to pay this. Now, how can you substantiate this? What is the product or service that the municipal corporation, county, city, town, township, borough is providing? What is it? What is the product? Somebody tell me a product or a service that the municipal corporation is providing that would validate the large numbers of income they receive annually. No. Look, a product is maybe this hat, your clothes, your shoes, these chairs. That's a product. A service can be anything, but you cannot be forced to take it. So, who So what ministerial corporation you going to and buy $6 million worth of soap? Volunteers.
I'm just keep on my so I'm just asking for the product. What they do is you go to Moor, probably like 1,200, but 3 times because the prison. So the money that they generate from their students, they don't need what they do.
No. No. Because see, what you're talking is sounding lawful, and it's not. Because see, a lot of the finance that these people they're getting $10,000 per day for each prisoner. You know why? Because they're submitting fraudulent documents. What is it? Disability. Okay, they're submitting fraudulent documents to get paid because they're paid every year. That's what at December 31st. Look, I know accounting. I can tell you. At December 31st, they must zero out their books. All books must be zeroed out at December 31st. On January 1st, they get the funding through fraudulent instruments submitted, and it can be as much as $7 billion to run their municipal corporation. They get it. You know why they get it? Because with the driving instruments, they submit documents to the United States Secretary of Transportation so that they could substantiate the federal dollars that they're receiving. So the whole safety program is already funded. So why are they coming after the people? For additional income. If anybody gets kidnapped for a traffic issue, which, by the way, traffic infractions are non-arrestable offenses, but they are kidnapping the people for these because of this. Because in order to get to the unlimited income, they got to plug them into the prison industry, which nobody talks about. Now, they're getting funded for this safety program, which is a federal program, and then they're going to get paid again through another federal program that's funding the prison industry. If there's a federal program that's funding the prison industry, called treason. Because the people in the prison is free people. But they can get away with this because nobody has followed the money. Everybody want to run in there talking about, well, you ain't got jurisdiction. You ain't got jurisdiction. You ain't got jurisdiction. I'm the Moor. You ain't got jurisdiction. What does that mean? What does jurisdiction mean, really? And is that the right word to come into an issue where they try to kidnap you and plug you into the prison industry? And here's the other thing. Are you just trying to get yourself free, or are you trying to smash down this fraudulent, unconstitutional, treasonous system that is in place? All right, well then if that's your intent, then coming and talking about you don't have jurisdiction is not the right angle to come at. Because in law, if you say something, you must have verifiable documentation to substantiate it. So now, what if you were kidnapped for a right to travel and you want to bring a suit against these people, what verifiable documentation would you go looking for? What is the presumption when they kidnap people off the street? No. Keep it down here. Simple, stupid. Wait, everybody can't talk at the same. Just keep it simple. Don't get complicated. What is the presumption when they're kidnapping people off the street? Guilty of what? What's the crime? All right. When they stop you, and no, it's not. When they stop you and run you off the road, what do they normally demand? So we got license and registration. All right, now what does the license do? Now, listen to what I'm saying. What does the license do? What's the privilege? Y'all are just, what? Try, there you go. Permission to crime. All right. When they stop you, and no, it's not. When they stop you and run you off the road, what do they normally demand? So we got license and registration. All right, now what does the license do? Now, listen to what I'm saying. What does the license do? What's the privilege? Y'all are just, what? Try, there you go. Permission to travel. Permission to travel. All right, and drive. All right, but since we're flesh and blood being, it falls under travel. And so, what does the registration imply? No, wait. The car is legal. Well, if you went to a car dealership or you bought it from somebody, it's legal. What is it implying? Somebody owns it. Somebody, hold on. Somebody, but not you, owns it. Somebody, but not you, owns it. All right. So now, it sounds like there's some written discoveries that need to be drafted up. For what? Asking what? You're going to draft up a written discovery after I just told you about license and registration to ask about jurisdiction? Come on now. The presumption is you needed permission to drive and or travel, and the registration implies that somebody but not you owns the automobile. So now what would your written discovery be? No. That's a statement. A written discovery is asking for something. So what, just with these two alone, what would you be asking? That's a good one. That's a good question, but you need to word that correct. You need the verifiable document that says you need a license or the registration, and you're not engaging in any commercial activity. You're going to visit your grandmother or your mother, or you're going to pick up some groceries. All right. So now, what else might you ask relative to a license and registration? How many people looked up in Black's Law definition what drive and travel? No. See, because That's correct. That's correct. So the driving, if you're driving, that's a commercial activity. It's in the Black Law definition. It's a Black Law Fourth Edition dictionary. Guess where else it is? Title 49. Title 49 defines drive as it is used in that statute. Title 49. Drive means that you are engaging in a non-commercial activity as it may relate to your private business. You can be a sole proprietor and not have to register your personal property. You can be a doctor and get in your personal property and go and visit your clients. Or under the Moorish nation, you can be a healer, an alchemist. And you can use your private property to go and make your rounds to your clients. That's protected under the rights of indigenous people. All right? So when they're talking about drive, clearly, it's not a sole proprietor. So it's got to be what? Corporate activity. Activity. Right? So now, most of the time, we don't know none of this stuff. Before y'all got into this Moorish information, which is all about law, which is substantiated in the American Constitution, 1791, did any of you know this? I know I didn't. I didn't know this. None of us knows this stuff yet. We have gone to the institution that these municipal corporations have established and are getting federal dollars because they are substantiating that they're providing a service, our people, in the way of education, and we're not educated. We don't know jack shit. Well, of course it's by design. But here's the thing that's kind of perplexing to me. Do you know, before you got into this information, how many people knew that they were enslaved as a slave? Historically, they talk about it every February. How many people knew they were enslaved? They said you were a slave. How many people knew this? You didn't know? Y'all didn't know this? Yeah, every February they talk about it, right? So now, in this whole February expose of the untruth about slavery, they told you that you weren't allowed to read or write, right? You couldn't know things, right? So now, here we are a couple years later, we're finding out all of this stuff. Would it be safe to say that there's some things you don't know? And because there's some things you don't know, you need to go and do and find out what you don't know and get to know it. Yet, you can walk out here and ask any melanated person, you know that you was enslaved? And they will say, yes, 400 years, slave, yes. And then when you ask them, what are you doing about it? They're going to tell you nothing. When I say, what are you doing about it, that means I'm asking, the fact that you was enslaved, you're calling it a slave, that means that you're lacking whole portions of information. Are you trying to recover that information? The vast majority of people are not doing that. They're not. I know people who are so black and Afrocentric they so Afrocentric, they're wearing the kinky cloth, they wrapping their head, and they strutting down the street proud to be an African. don't know jack shit about the whole bodies of information that's missing. The only thing they know is, we had this Atlantic slave trade, and billions of people are at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and we came over here enslaved or chained together like animals. Okay, but what are you doing to fill the information that's missing, such as the history of the land, the history of the people? I'm going to tell you what most people say about. I know where my people come from because I got to go get a DNA so I can find out where I come from. Who are you going to get a DNA from? Who? Who are you going to get a DNA from so they can tell you where you come from? Who is administering that test? All right? Modern Europeans are administering that test. And what they're coming back and telling people, first of all, you're paying a minimum of 200 notes for it. And then you're sending your private and confidential information. Your DNA is your private and confidential information. Your saliva is your private and confidential information. Your thumbprint is your private and confidential information. Your retina scans, they scan your retina, that's your private and confidential information. And anybody is asking you for that, you need to first ask them, is that under threat? No, then you can have it if you give me X amount of dollars for it. And if you're forcing me, I'll be sending you a bill. But they're sending their private and confidential information in the form of a swab, their DNA, they're swabbing the saliva, and sending it to an absolute stranger. A stranger who they gave 200 notes or more to do this. Now, I'm going to date myself because when I was a little girl, National Geographic used to be on TV. How many people remember that? Oh, all right. It's Sunday, 7 o'clock, Disney. After Disney, or before Disney, it was National Geographic, sponsored by Mutual of Omaha. That's no longer in existence today. How many people remember that? National Geographic. And I think they have them on the Animal Channel. They have it on the Animal Channel, right? They go out into Africa and they chase the species down and they tag them with a number, either a metallic number or they tear a number into them. That's DNA. That's what they're cataloging the people, and the people are sending it off voluntarily for 200 notes. Talk about mental conditioning to a complete stranger who then comes back and tells you that 80% of you came from Africa. 5% of you came from Asia. 2% you came from Ireland. And people is running this down to me, and I was like, well, God damn it, you're the bionic man. Because I don't know no other being that was put together from parts that came from all around the world. I'm just saying. Now, what's crazy about this is that this is coming from modern Europeans. Now, I don't know, but I think crazy. I'm thinking if they knew that much about DNA, they'd first fix themselves. Because their numbers are decreasing drastically. Their numbers are decreasing drastically. Their population was never equal to ours. It was always less than ours, but they cannot reproduce. And so their numbers are decreasing drastically. So I figure if they know that much about DNA, they first fix themselves. Forget about us. I'm just saying. Well, honey, let me tell you, they don't have to do DNA testing for that because they got all of these institutions around here that they call hospitals. You can go in for a hangnail, and they're going to take 5 tubes of blood from you. What's that for? If they're taking blood from you, in the blood is your DNA. And then they send you a bill. They do that with all of us. Well, first of all, I can tell you for a fact. I used to work in a hospital for 5 years. I can tell you for a fact, when they talk about norms, it's not based on us. The norms that they're talking about is based on them. I don't care what it is. It's not based on us. There are no numbers based on us because ain't nobody doing that type of research, not even us. People want to talk about, I need a way to generate revenue, or I need a profession, I want to do something. There's nothing to do. How about finding out about the AGA DNA? How about getting into a little bit of alchemy? I mean, it's all around you. We never went to these institutions. I know back in the 50s and 60s, they wouldn't even let us into these so-called hospitals. They wouldn't. If you had a problem and you was bleeding to death, they will leave you right outside the hospital and stand in the window and watch you bleed to death until they realize that it's very popular. It's very profitable. Take the Asiatic population in, since there's so many of them, and they're dumb anyway, dumb by design. Because we go to these municipal corporations, institutions they call schools. And back in 1984, the United States Department of Education put out a report. And the report basically said that, this is 84 now, the educational system is so terrible that the people here cannot compete internationally. And guess what? It has continued to decline. No, it ain't got nothing to do with the fluoride. It got everything to do with the fact that we as a people, we're like hamsters in the cage. We're running, but we're going nowhere. We got to get up in the morning. We got to get to work 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Then, and if you're up here, oh my God, it can take you hours to get to the job, and you got to get up in the dark to make it to work on time. So that means that you can't raise your baby unless you got a truly determined son at your side who will work 2 and 3 jobs so you can stay home. And it ain't too many of them. My younger brother is like that, and I said, I want to marry a guy just like you. He's younger than me. He worked 3 jobs so that his wife never had to work. She stayed home, raised their 3 boys. And that's needed, especially with boys, because boys need their mothers there to keep them in check. And it's only mother that's going to be able to do that. And it's just crazy that mothers today I'm hoping it ain't the Asiatic mothers, but they talking like they afraid of their children. I'm sorry. The day that I am afraid of a son that I have, it's going to be either him or me. And I'm good if it's me, because I know that I was the one running the show. So if I go, you're out on the street anyway. So I'm just saying, we need to establish better relationships with our sons If you're in a relationship with a son and he's awake and just determined, y'all need to sit down and figure out a way to keep mother at home because he's going to be injected into this prison industry. They're just laying in wait for him. And if you're sending these children to these institutions, they are setting them up because they all work together, all of them. If they're going to these municipal corporations, institutions that they're calling schools, the school will look your child over to see if there's anything that they can report. And if they don't see anything, they will have these cute little conversations with your innocent baby. They will ask them, "Are you sad? Are you happy at home? Are you afraid at home?" No, they don't go after special needs. They go after the Asiatic children, period. No, they don't. If you're in these municipal corporations, 9 times out of 10, you're an Asiatic child. Because modern Europeans, they will work themselves into the grave, not to send their children to the municipal corporation institutions. A lot of times. They will work themselves into a grave to send them to a private school. Not that the private school is any better, but let me tell you what the private schools do. The private schools get children prepared to take care of these little children in the municipal corporation institutions they call schools. That's it. So I'm not saying that we need to work to move our children out of these municipal corporation institutions into the private school. We need to move them out, period. Because the private schools are charging like $30,000 a year. It doesn't matter. Because we are the only people on planet Earth that send our children to a complete stranger, foreigner at that, and depend on them to educate our children. And they get mad when they don't. And that was never the objective. We never used to send our children to these institutions. And look, school don't have to be in the daytime. School can be in the evening. It used to be that we always had a grandmother somewhere. And grandma took care of not just her grandbaby, but a couple of grandbabies. And the grandmother is the one who gave them information. I know because that's how I learned everything. I learned a lot, like herbs and everything, common sense, critical thinking. I got all of that from my grandmother because that's who I would spend time. My mother was working and my father was working, so we was with my grandmother, or we was with a woman that was like a grandmother. No. See, this is where you have to have mothers in the mix. I'm not saying you're trying to exclude mother, but let me tell you, there's nothing like a mother whose child has been threatened. And you're going to have to sit down and come up with a plan that works for you. And you're going to need more than one. You're going to need more than one family. Like everybody in here is in the same area and got children. All y'all need to sit down, pick a day, sit down, and start strategizing. How can we do this? What do we want to do? Let me tell you something. I took all my children out of these institutions. I had 6. By myself, single mother, and I taught them for a year. I found out it's simple, stupid. Our problem is we don't give our children the credit they deserve. We think that because they're not 18, they're stupid. They're not stupid. 5-year-olds are very smart. 6-year-olds, smart. 7-year-olds, smart. 7-year-olds, if you train them right, they can take care of your 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. My grandson is 7 years old. He helped his cousin with her homework, so I don't have to. All right, it's easy, very easy. When you're teaching your children, you're teaching them to be disciplined. They got to get up at a certain time. They got to make breakfast. How do you make breakfast? By measuring. Get rid of all that processed crap. Get them back to cooking by measures. It's going to teach them math. It's going to teach them critical thinking. It's going to teach them how to organize. I did that with my children. I was like, oh my goodness, this is business. I should go to the grocery store with me. $3, $4. I only want 2. How much is it? 34 cents a pound. I need 5. How much is it? Is that too much? Is that in our budget? Critical thinking. And when it comes time to pay the bills, bam! You got to pay these bills. I don't think parents think their children are stupid at all. I just think that this is all they know, so that's what they went with. But there's other alternatives, and we're absolutely supported by the rights of indigenous people. There is no law that says you have to send your child to a municipal corporation institution that they set up so that they can get federal dollars because they're providing a crappy-ass service. There's no law that says you have to do this. On this land, you're free to do whatever the hell you want to as long as you don't infringe on somebody else's space. And as Aboriginal indigenous people, you can never be compelled to participate in the foreign institution of a modern European who are visitors on this land but not Aboriginal indigenous to this land. Now, what law enforcement would that be? Why would they come after the parents? Okay, well, when I took my children out of the institution, I didn't have a problem at all. I showed up and I said, I'm taking them out today. I want all day records. No. Look, when I took my children out of the institution, I knew nothing about being a Moor, and I had not declared my Moorish nationality. That came years later. And the other thing is, I hear people talking about how the schools are forcing the children to get immunizations. Well, let me tell you, I don't even understand that. They tried that with my daughter, but see, this is where less is more. Because all of you are Muslims, right? All of you are Moors, right? Muslims, right? Then what's your religion? And is immunization a part of your religion? No. So what's the problem? I'm sorry, when I was working at the hospital, they had people from Hindustan, India they call it, and they came to work with their head wrap. And if they were asked, why do they have that on their head? It's my religion. People would back up. I know, because it happened to me. The last driving instrument I had on my turban, and I had this wrapped, damn near had it wrapped up all around my face. That was like this. And the girl said, I don't need to ask, is that for your religion? I said, yes, it is. She said, I don't need to know more. She backed up 3 seconds. I swear to God, she backed up 3. I don't need to know. Don't tell me no more. I don't need to know more. And when they tried to tell me that my daughter could not graduate from high school unless she got the inoculation, I said, well, where does she need to go? And I went to the clinic. They had you fill out the little blue form, everybody should be familiar with the blue form because it's the same across the nation. And everybody misses on the back. It says, do you have any religious objections? Check. They never asked me. They did a plain physical. Then they said, well, we need to do the TB test. I said, and how do you plan on doing that? They said, well, we're going to inject something under the skin. I said, no, that's against my religion. They said, well, we can do an x-ray. I said, we'll do that. But see, if you never say anything, they will push it on you because if you don't know that immunization is simply poisoning you with the actual poison virus, then, you know, that's why our children have all these problems. But these problems are not permanent. If we were to change our diet, that poison can do nothing. Because poison, you can be in the middle of a pandemic. If your diet is right, it will not touch you. I know, because I work, everywhere I work, everybody around me gets sick. They look at me, how come you don't ever get sick? I don't know, because I'm not here to inform other people. I pick and choose who I give information to, and the vast majority I don't say nothing to, because sometimes your people that look like you don't have your best interest at heart, and when you're working, you don't need to have somebody that may be a potential stab in the back. So keep it quiet when you're at work. Islam? That's not true. That's not true. That's not. I did that. I did that. Let me just. Well, no, because see, you have to recognize that a lot of these programs, they're federally funded. Guess who the federal dollars are for? Y'all. But nobody want to claim it. Nobody want to go, oh, and then they make you think that they doing you a favor by giving it to you. No, you got that to get out because I'm standing here breathing. You get to get paid because I'm standing here breathing. Let's not get this twisted. So no, look, all of the resources on this land is primarily for the Aboriginal indigenous people. The problem is most Aboriginal indigenous people don't research and find the free stuff. And they have us mentally conditioned to do that. Because most of us, like, we will try and kill ourselves to open a McDonald's when we can just look in our closet and find a simple tray. They have us thinking if it doesn't cost $1 million, it ain't worth it. So little simple things that is priceless. Islam? Well, that's not necessary. Well, you know what? Let me just say this. It all depends on the energy of the person, the being. It's a lot, because I don't know, because I've had situations when my children was young. I have had situations, and I didn't know none of this stuff. So only thing I can say is it had to be the energy. That's it. It was the energy. Because I don't know. And see, a lot of people, at that time, I was, believe it or not, a lot of people is going to laugh when I say this, but back then, I got into the Amway program. And the Amway program had you reading all of these, well, I'm a reader. And they had me reading all of these books, what to say, what to say when you talk to yourself. How many people know that you talk yourself into and out of things and you're not even aware of these conversations that are going on in your head? No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't even say that. Because it's that, those thoughts create energy that work against you. And the vast majority of us, we're not even aware, like we're having thoughts right now while you're listening to me that you're not aware of. Like some of y'all probably sitting here thinking, I wish he shut up because, or when I get home, I'm going to eat that whatever I got left in the refrigerator because I am so hungry. You're having thoughts that you're not even thinking about. No, you're not. I can test you too because I've done this. I can test everybody in here. Say that again. Well, see, it's not the conscious thoughts that you want to pay attention to. It's the subconscious, because it's the subconscious, the constant chatter that makes things happen. That's just making things happen. It's not what you're aware of. Like how many people are consciously aware of breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most of us are not aware of that because you don't even count. You don't breathe in and out to account. Most of us don't even breathe right. Most of us got stale air at the base of our lungs because we don't know how to breathe all of it out. So you can't breathe it out anymore and then cough. You will feel that. You will feel and taste that stale air come up because it's down there. And one time is not going to bring it up. So there's a lot of things that we are doing, and we're doing it on automatic pilot. We're not even aware of it, and that creates an energy. And how do we get programmed? By the TV and the so-called radio. Everybody's wondering, how do I got such a shitty relationship? Well, what are you listening to? Because the crap that's on music today is not about love. And so nobody has love. They don't even have love for self. Exactly. And there's so many things that these modern Europeans, they got plan within plan. If you might have 1 or 2 plans, but it takes everyday reflection of self to keep up with and dig into yourself to discover what plans are in operation, working against you. Well, that's why when you're born, they got the time, the date of your birth, and they have done the chart, and they will make sure that certain scenarios and situations happen around you because they know your astrological birth chart better than you. Most people will go to the newspaper and look up Libra and see what good things are going to happen to them today based on what that little blurb in the newspaper said, and never, ever study and do a birth chart for themselves. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's good to have somebody else, if you need help you figure out how to do a birth chart, but all of these books that Rob has over there that will teach you how to do. Look, I discovered the astrology wheel years before I got here. So I learned certain things about myself, and then I was so excited. I wanted to see if I was doing it right. So I did it on me first because I know me, and then I would do it on everybody I knew. And one of the things that I said to myself when I was doing this astrology wheel was, well, that's not written in stone. Everybody can change. That's not written in stone. I found out that a lot of people are written in stone because few people work on themselves and change. Few. They fall into the standard characteristics of every astrological sign and planet and aspect because the vast majority of people do not work on themselves. They don't. But this is all about working on self. That's the only reason you are here. Because there's nobody here by accident. The only reason you are here is because you got something to work out within you. Not her and not him, you. This is all about you. But these modern Europeans got you thinking, well, if you focus on just you, that's selfish. And so we never look at us. We go looking at everybody else. And we can tell everybody else about themselves, but you can't tell yourself nothing about you. And I can tell you that if you really get serious about finding yourself and healing yourself and growing yourself and repairing yourself and learning those lessons that you came here to learn, it's going to be a rough ride. It's going to be a rough ride, but it will be worth it. You will find yourself getting torn down, shaken up, and rolled over all at the same time. But if you can just ride it out, you will get to the other side, and you will discover that it was so well worth it. But there's so much that you're going to have to dig up and throw away that's working against you. So much. So if you do it, you will be rewarded. Nobody else will be rewarded but you, and you will feel so much lighter, and you will feel invincible. And if you can get to that place, sometimes you might feel like you're floating on air. Not all the time, but sometimes, a lot more than you usually do. So we were supposed to do our little presentation today, but only one presenter showed up. I didn't want to put him on the spot. So, oh, you what? Oh, I'm sorry. You want to do your No, it's all right. Well, we you know what? How about we do this? I would love for everybody. Look, it doesn't have to be elaborate. How about if everybody in here, we come back on next Wednesday is Rob, and I believe Rob is probably going to do astrology. Are you doing astrology next Wednesday? And you don't have your phone on, do you? Wait, and let me turn you on it, because if you got your phone, then I got it. Oh, boy. All right, well, no, you don't. All right, yeah. Okay,
I just wanted to say that when you just said to the class and the listeners that, everybody is always into, instead of learning about themselves, always looking at other people because they've been indoctrinated to believe that. It's really interesting because that is what the lesson of lower self and higher self is. That is what the lesson of uplifting fallen humanity is. And Sister Anna Eve said, look, you're here for you, right? So now you're saying, how do I know? Well, if you have your chart, you're looking at the chart and you're saying, oh, I'm an Aries, I'm a Libra, I'm a this. Then you find out what your trinity is. My moon is this, my rising, which or ascendant, which means what I look like or how I present my moon, which is my soul self, and, whatever my sun sign is how I express my moon, my real self, right? But that's called the Trinity. But if you really want to know what you're supposed to be here doing, you have to look at the aspects that are created from your chart. And what do I mean by aspect? If something is square to something else, opposing something else, maybe it's tiled, which means it's harmonious. Maybe it's a tree. Yes, that's definitely harmonious. But here's what's interesting. First of all, that's where you find your higher self and your lower self. What's interesting is all of those positions I just mentioned, they're all based on what? Mathematics. This is why the universe is mathematics. Because they're all based on, that's all they're based on. If something is opposing, it's 180 degrees away. So if you have a planet that's here, right? We're talking about, the cosmos, right? And then you have one that's right there, where you are, so it's about 180, right? That's all it means. So now what do you want to know? How does this planet and that planet affect each other when they are approaching? Oh, and another thing, there's 12 houses. 12,000 from my life. Where is that planet? And what house is it in my life? Because that's where it's going to affect. That's the facet of my life it will affect. So that being what it is, it's mathematics. So you also look at the aspects to see what is the good parts of you. Higher self, lower self. Here's the problem. When you go to look at your aspects that are not good, you might say, or you'll see how ugly you are. You'll see what it is you really got to do. You'll also see that something about the problem when everyone here was just acting. It's probably the most, what are you doing? She's doing around the phone. Y'all saw that, right? Y'all can't see a thing. I don't know. But I will make another comment before your class is over about something else. But I'm loving your class. It's beautiful. Isn't the information she's sharing beautiful? One last thing. So there's one thing. Somebody out here asked if I do try, and I wanted to say to you, explain to them why a sister can have her children at home if that's who she chooses to teach them, and still get the tributes that belong to her. If she knows what they are and how to get them. And another person that said, well, if we have our children under the school, they're going to really kind of mess with us. They're going to always challenge you to mess with you. You're their mother's finance. That's why she said the family has to be involved. The mother definitely has to be involved. And it's sad because mother, what has happened now is a generation of children who come from a generation of mothers, and that's the way I said it, who are working. Mothers as mothers. Say that again? Oh, well, look. Nobody said that a father or son, because you're not a father, you're a son. Now, come on now. These have become private lessons, and we're not supposed to know them unless we went to the private club. Private know what you're on, at least I'm taking the covers off. So we have to be real. You are a mother's son. The only thing is mom's son. So we come from that perspective. And I think she laid down earlier, I was listening, and it was excellent. She said it. Now, if you don't work from that position, you lose. And if you don't work from that position, what you say? They're ready to get you like vultures. It's more and more of a time now that we have to work from a proper perspective and concept, period. Because if you don't, you don't fit. So, with that being said, of course there's something that you learn. Mother, father is who we are. It's the mother, it's right in chapter 1. But when we say that, because of the concept of what we believe, first thing that can happen is the son, mother's son, maybe the, father, husband, house-minded, that's what husband is, gets a feeling of, what about me? Can I do something? Yeah, you got a lot to do, but some of what we do is not it. Why do you not know that? Because of the indoctrination. Whatever your mother tells you need to do is what you need to do. That's it. Islam. That's it. Okay, all right. No, I just went. The sisters are almost generations, and they've got these sons that are our sons, our family. We got to fix it. Yeah.
Hey, you're muted. Good. Now, let me just talk just briefly about it. If anybody wants to, how many people, I know I said this before, we think that setting up a school is a huge undertaking. It's beyond me. No, it's not. These modern Europeans got you thinking it's beyond you, because it serves their purpose. It's all about the credit, which is money. It's all about the credit, all right? Teaching children is so easy, so easy. How many people work? How many people work first shift? First shift. First shift. How many people work a second shift? Second shift. How many people work third? Would you work first and second shift? Oh. All right. How many people work third shift? This is not whatever you're doing at home. Third shift. All right. If now you got to come together and do this because it's not going to work. I mean, it can work with one, but you have to. Your children, you have to have at least. Well, if you have more than one child, you have to have at least one that can be responsible. Then you can do it yourself. See, I had 6 and I had 2 that I knew was responsible. Plus I put the fear of Allah, or 6 of them. Soon as you have them babies, you got to put the fear of Allah in them. Because if you don't, when you're by yourself, they will run all over you. It was 1 of me and 6 of them. I put the fear of Allah in them real quick. They was not going to run over me. And I didn't whoop them. I gave them that look. That look that said, boy, when I get home. And it always worked because I would give them that look. They would straighten up. They'd be quiet as mouse. Mommy, can I do anything for you? People would walk by and children and say, well behaved. I'd be like, what children are you talking about? Fear of Allah. You have to have at least one. If you have more than one, you have to have at least one that's going to be responsible. If you have one, you got to put the fear of Allah in them. And if it's a son, you got to put the fear of Allah and your foot up there behind. Because they will get very creative. Because that's their energy. Son's energy is to be creative. They will do crazy stuff. Like my nephew, so creative. His father is a carpenter on the side. And so his mother, depended on him to be responsible, and he got into his father's power tools. Nobody got hurt, but the potential was there. So sons are very creative. So you're going to have to feed that creativity somehow until you get back home and you can keep your eye on them. And so, a lot of things, one of the things that I know they try to get us to do is standardize our children. Well, and you know how we know that we've fallen for that? We'll say things like, why can't you be like your older sister? Because they're not. We can't get into standardizing our children. We have to let them be the individuals that they are. So I had 6. And I had to figure out what was individual about all 6 of them because they all don't have the same buttons to push. I don't know what the universe was thinking when he gave me 6 daughters because daughters are very challenging. They're super smart and they try to use their powers early. Mothers know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all got daughters? There ain't no age. No age. Do you have a daughter? How old is your daughter? And that's when she got here. She was using her powers on you. Hey! There's no age. They start running when they get here. Because you got to remember, the daughter is the full package. She's the duplicate of the mother. The mother is the full package. She comes here and already from the crib, she be looking up at you. You must have been there for the birth. All right. Because I'm wondering how she did that. You really need to clarify that one. But anyway, children, they're you know what? If you go back to when your children were babies, they were curious about everything until they got to these institutions. Then all of that curiosity died. All of it died. All of it died. And then that's when you started having problems with them. So if we get our children back and we get them excited about learning, it's going to be a challenge. Because if they've already been in that system, I'm not saying it's impossible. When I say it's a challenge, I mean we didn't know our children. We don't know our children. We're busy working. Nobody knows our children. Not even these people at these institutions. They don't know our children, and they don't even care to know our children because they get in their finance. They don't give a crap about our children. They just show up to get paid. And our children can jump off a cliff and then, oh, there's another one of baby jumping off the cliff. Can I get my check? They don't care about our children. So we have to learn our children. And I hear, like, a lot of mothers, they'll say, oh, I can't stand my daughter. She you know everything. She knows everything you know. She just sexualized. She's a full package. She's literally a chip off the old block. Literally. So they come here and they already testing it. We don't know our children, so we have to learn our children. Like what makes them tick. One likes music, one likes drawing, one likes cooking, one is just a cleaning fanatic. You know, we don't know what are our children's buttons. The wonderful thing about daughters, everybody misses this, but I picked up on it real quick. Daughters, they're so sure that they know everything that they tell you their whole plan. That's a wonderful thing. Mothers, do not get upset with your daughters if they're telling you that, oh, I'm going to go down the street tomorrow and I'm going to be with Aisha and we're going to do this, that, and the other. You know the plan. Now you can cut it off at the pass. Sons are not that way. You ask sons, what are you doing tomorrow? They'll look at you like, and just the blank stare. The blank stare. Because they like, I wonder why she's asking me. They don't say nothing because they don't want to get in trouble. Girls, forget about it. They will tell you whatever is on their mind. They will come right out and say, that's been my experience with my daughters and my nephew. My nephew, one day my nephew went to an expo and they were selling stuff. And he decided to buy a sword, and he got on the bus to come home with the sword. And he had to take 2 buses to get to my house, and one of the buses took him to the mall. And then he had time before the second bus showed up, so he was walking through the mall with the sword. It doesn't matter. Because when you see that, when these people stretching out here, oh, Asia had his son, sword, let's call the police. So you know when you're in the house and my doorbell rings, I go open the door and it's the police. And I see my nephew getting out the car. So already I got what the hell did he go do now? Look on my face. And the police must have realized that look, because and it must have been, sprinkled with some look because the police immediately said, he didn't do nothing. And then I was like, okay, why are you here? And he says, well, we thought we would give him a ride home because he had this sword on his person. And it was making some people uncomfortable. So we're giving him a ride home for his safety. and other people's peace of mind. So I was like, okay. So I get him in the house, and I sit him down, and I was like, what were you thinking? What made you buy a sword? What's the purpose of that? He gave me the blank look. And so then I went into this dissertation on being a little bit more responsible. You know, you could have told me. I could have came and picked you up, and I was on a roll, and then something just said, look at his face. And I looked at his eyes, and I saw that he had checked out. And for probably 15 minutes, I was talking, and nobody was home. So I said, get out of my face. Huh? Oh, God, let me think. How old was he? He was oh, God, he was in high school. But he's curious that way. And I said all of that to say that boys, they're super curious. They got the get up and go energy. They get here running. They die running. They're running. Their whole life is get up and do something. And that's why, how many mothers know this? Get up and do that. Boys get into some of the most interesting situations. Like, I have this girl never put a safety plug in the wall at all. My nephew comes over, and I see him going to stick something in the plug. I'm like, wow, you will kill me. And she comes to pick you up in your day. I'm like, are you kidding me? Rules that day. I'm like, I'm this boy. You know, so he and I he scared me so bad I whooped his behind. Because I just, you know, my mind went forward with that scenario, and I was just so scared. I whooped his behind. He never did that again at my house. But he didn't like coming to my house at all anyway. But if we want to get a program together so that we can educate our children, it's not difficult. We need to buddy up. If you got a girlfriend that you trust, you're going to have to buddy up with her. And if she works first shift and you work second shift, and somebody else works third shift, then y'all can switch the children up. And all three of y'all got information. Every mother knows how to cook. Every mother knows how to, what else? Cook, do grocery shopping, clean. Well, they can learn together. They can learn together. Now, you know what? You know what? Well, you know what? Back in the day, hold on. Now, back in the day, sons had 2 and 3 jobs and women didn't have to work. So, you know, that's kind of equal right there. We both got to change. We both got to do things that is going to empower our family collectively, not individually. So that means that mothers, fathers too, because some of you guys got a trade. Don't know how to do some electrical work. When my brothers were young, this is how my mother did it. I was so jealous. My brothers got to go with my uncle and put up sheetrock, learn how to, you know, run electrical wires, put down tile, and I got to stay home and learn how to cook and clean and wash. I didn't mind learning how to do that, but I wanted to learn how to do that as well. Now, I got an opportunity to do that because in the summertime, we would go with my dad, and my dad is an independent contractor, and we rode up and down in that truck to every single job with him and sat right there while he did everything. And my dad was one of those people that he explained it whether you wanted to hear it or not. He wasn't speaking to the girls. He was speaking to the boys, but I picked up on all of that information, and it was very interesting. So one of the ways to get the boys engaged is to buddy them up with a brother, a son who knows the trade. I don't know about today, but I know when I was growing up, Everybody had a side gig. Everybody. And nobody got off work at 5 o'clock, came home and slept. Nobody did that. You came home at 5 o'clock, ate, changed, went to your side gig. Everybody had a side gig. Well, I don't know if everybody else, I don't know if that's today, but we can effectuate that right here. Shoot, I got some stuff at my house needs to be fixed. I would hire one of my sons, and before I would hire a foreigner. You know, so we got to work together because it's together that we're going to grow. So we know that we can teach our children simple math simply by having them cook with you. They have so much fun. Who bakes a cake from scratch these days? Do you? Well, there you go. You got the math, you got the reading, you got the critical thinking. Critical thinking, right? Because you might have a recipe for a raisin cake. But what if you want to do blueberry? Cheesecake, thank you. Put that one on the table. The rum cake you can do at midnight. The rum cake you can do at midnight by yourself. Cheesecake is good. Cheesecake is really good because guess what? Most cheesecake is made with cow's milk. How about almond milk? Well, I'm just saying something other than cow's milk. I'm not an almond person either. But I'm saying you can exactly. There you go. Something other than cow's milk, right? So now if you're really into it, you can have the children do a report on the difference between cow's milk and cashew milk. What's the benefit? Okay, now is cow's milk heavier than cashew milk? Are we going to need more cashew milk than cow's milk because of the weight consistency? Are we going to replace the eggs with another natural substance, such as I think maybe applesauce? If we're going to replace the eggs with applesauce, how much applesauce are we going to use? We can do a report about the benefits of eggs or the benefits of applesauce opposed to eggs. These are things that the children will be so excited to find out. Why? Because they eat these things. It's very, I'm just trying to show you, it's very easy. Like, and taking them grocery shopping now, when I was growing up, my mother made us write a list that she never followed. But we wrote the list. It was an exercise. She never followed the list. But I can tell you right now, I will make a list to go to the grocery store in a heartbeat. And I can tell you that my mother traumatized me with the grocery store. So I go once a month, and I'll find a 24-hour grocery store, and I'll go there at 12 and 1 o'clock at night because I want to get in and get out. And when my girl was younger, we would go to get the carriage, and I would tell them, look, I'm going to be in and out in an hour. If I'm not done in an hour, I'm leaving everything there. They didn't believe me. It happened one time. Because I don't know, I just hate grocery shopping so much I get hot. When I get hot, I'm gone. So one time they delayed and we got to our window. I left the cart there and I said, come on, we're going home. Left the whole cart there and we went home. They never missed that hour window again. So these are things that we can teach our children. And if you go back and you look at our history, our children were better prepared. They were smarter. They were more organized because we were bringing them into things at a young age that they were learning at home as opposed to these municipal corporations institutions that they call schools. Our children are lazy today. They don't use their brains for nothing except playing video games, and that's not even a brain team. So we need to get rid of the video games because the video games are violent, teaching the children to have a huge comfort level where violence is concerned. And we're financing somebody else's child when we buy these video games. The video games is a new babysitter. We need to get rid of them because they're not doing our children any good. Our children need to go back. My granddaughter's birthday this summer, past summer, they had it at this place called Dave and Buster's. I don't know what's wrong with people. I went in there, and it was dark. There were no windows, and there were flashing neon lights. I said, I feel like I'm in Dracula's lair. Why are we in here? Why? I am used to children running. It was sunny outside, hot, 90 degrees. Why are we in Dracula's lair? I said, this is not a place for a birthday. And why are all the children going there? I said, this is wrong. I don't like this. I don't want to experience this again. But this is what they're programming our children to do. I mean, a birthday at McDonald's Land would have been better than that. Chuck E. Cheese, yes, at least it's brightly lit. It was dark, and I swear I felt like I was at Dracula's lair. And years ago, I went to this house party up north. This house party, and it was dark. They had curtains from the ceiling to the floor. And I was like, are we really at a club? Or are we at, like, some, paraphernalia outfit? Because this is when I went to Dave and Buster's, that's what it reminded me of. I went there one time, and I was like, this is really weird. Very strange. Not feeling this. Let's leave. That's what Dave and Buster's felt like. Dracula's lair. That's what I called it then. I said, this is like Dracula's lair. Why are we in a dark place on a 90-degree sunny day celebrating a birthday? We could be outside. What happened to kickball? What happened to kickball? What happened to like making the popsicles? Remember when we were young, we made our own popsicles and took it to the park and played all day. Hopscotch. Jack. I brought my granddaughter a jack set. She was like, Grandma, what is that? I was like, you don't know about jack? Grandma, you don't know about jack? I was like, Dang. I was playing it. I was like, God, this is the stuff. Remember the paddle? The paddle would paddle all day long. I think a simple, stupid game that kept us busy out in the sunshine. We came home and slept good. All right? And then we had the little crazy card play concentration all day long. Improved your memory skills. Where is the concentration game today? No, it's not there. But look at these games. Stickball. That was a free game. The paddle, I remember, what was the paddle? Paddleball, that was like 99 cents. The jack, I got from the dollar store. All right? These were games that was under $5, kept them busy all day long. Out in the sun, Okay, you came home, you slept good because you worked up all your energy. All your energy. Today, children are not using up their energy, so they are getting into all manner of things because they're not spending their energy. They're not even doing anything creative. I remember when I was young, believe it or not, I used to play with frogs. I can't even think of touching a frog today, but I used to collect frogs and salamanders. Frogs and salamanders. No. Frogs and salamanders. Today, children don't know nothing about nature. Nothing at all. And don't tell me that you can't get that up in this concrete jungle because you got that big Central Park. You can do a nature hunt in Central Park. You can go through Central Park and pick up different leaves and then go back home and look them up. What are they? Where do they come from? What do they do? What are they good for? Do they have any medicinal purposes? These are things free. Things that are free that you can do. And then take a picnic basket to the park. Let them children run all day until you have to carry them home and tuck them into the bed, and your night is free. Free. You can put on a little Marvin Gaye and, a little cup of tea, a little glass of wine, and go get your, I'm just saying, you got a couple of hours after you work, you make that baby run to death. So now the baby is asleep until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You got the rest of the night for you to relax or start a project. So, I'm just saying all of that, yeah?
It don't have to be out today. Work. So an average visit 15 times. So 63 hours for 1 week.
Yes.
So in total, we don't visit 136 and a half days a year.
That's true. That's true. So but there's ways that we can change that. You know what? Let me tell you. I decided a couple of years ago that I was tired of working in the corporate world. Too much drama. I wanted a simple life. I got rid of everything that was not necessary to me surviving. I cut out all of the extras. And it made my life so much simpler. I didn't need to have the next brand new car on the market. What they call it? A bucket or a hoopty. Long as that baby starts up and gets me to work and back home, I'm good. Because guess what? I really only need it in the wintertime, because in the summertime, we need to pull out a bike and go riding. When my children was young, their father used to take them riding. He would be at the top, and there would be 6 little bikes behind him, all going all over creation. We need to get back to riding bikes because it will help us, and it will wear the babies out. Exactly. So in the summertime, we don't need to be taking cars. We can jump on the bike and go. And it'll be a great adventure. You ain't got to do it every day, but you can plan to do it at least once a week. Exactly. It opens up a lot. And you know what? Many of us are suffering from stress. The stress is related to the many psychological issues that we don't want to face. So riding a bike and getting back to bonding with our family and love is going to reduce a lot of the stress that we suffer from today. And it will make us happier people, and we will have a more loving relationship with our children. Because right now, some of our children, they don't even like to be hugged. So we need to change that. Somebody pulled my coattail years ago with my children, so I'm hoping that I'm pulling somebody's coattail today. We need to get into hugging our children, spending time with our children, touching our children. I have 6 daughters, so I was sleeping with any one of them on any given night because I wanted to get back that vibe. Mothers can do that. I'm just saying. Mothers, I'm not excluding the sons. I'm just saying that some sons, they look at it as, what you talking about? I'm just saying mothers definitely can do that. It don't matter if it's the mother or the father. Somebody needs to do it. It'd be fantastic if both can do it. That's all I would say. And these boys, you know, they need to learn to love now. They need to learn to love now. Because if you're loving them now, when they get older, they will know how to love their mate. Because they're not getting that from the video game, and they damn sure enough ain't getting that from this so-called music of today. They're getting abuse of how to abuse a woman from that crap today. So we need to start incorporating that into our day-to-day routine with our children, especially the sons, because they really do need it more. Islam? So that's it. Now, when we meet back here in January, if we don't have something planned for Noble Drew Ali Solar Return next month, we're going to have our presentation. And what I'm going to do is whoever signs up, fantastic. But I'm going through the whole class. Y'all going to at least say your appellation and your national standing. Islam? And so did you unmute your phone, and are you ready to come on over here and close out? No, what you got to do is go to stuff. Did you unmute your phone?
Because I didn't unmute it yet. We just got to where we we got a little microphone that's handheld for the audience, and then we just move down here where the echo problem won't hear you any of it. If we use any of that stuff, it causes this huge echo because of this music. I know what to do with your like Moor, but I like the room. But anyway, it does feel different. It does feel different. So, was there anybody who's the first time? Oh, yeah, I saw somebody raise their hand. Oh, no, that's the Zendara, which is, that's the Zendara, right? Which is the Zodiac. The Zodiac. It's just the mobile women. Yeah. Yeah? Oh, hey, Alexis, how are you? All right. You're welcome. Now, Now, I just want you to know there's a new telephone number for the Blog Talk, everyone. And should we explain? Let me tell you what happened. Well, we had to ask for a confirmation. Your phone on? Here. No. Oh, well, I'll take you. All right. Go prep me with it. All right, so what happened is, okay. There's no misinformation for the back up, or that's just for the Blog Talk, because we're not. But what has happened is, for years that we've been doing it, there was a certain number you all called. And then the Blog Talk state that they were changing the host, service carrier, provider. And so they said, you're going to have a new number, and here's what it is, or it might be this number. And so you know how you get your phone changed, and it'll say, oh, the new number is the old-fashioned way. The new number is. So at first, many people were calling into the old number, and we didn't know. We were still back, right? And they were saying, oh, this line is still, that's the new number. And they were getting the new number, right? Had we known what was going to be happening, suddenly, like last week or the week before, you called the old number. Because remember, that's not actual number anymore. We got a new one. But we didn't like affirmatively say, hey, guess what? As of right now, you're definitely on this particular number. You call it and it says, oh, the show they're calling is busy. It's still. But if you pay X amount, you can listen to hear the show. So, of course, it looks like Amexem blog is charging, right? You know, these people got so much slander going on. That's not what's happening. What's happening is they're taking advantage of the fact, because remember, our carrier went to a new host with a new number. But you're the old carrier, right? You're like, shoot, I'm going to get a lot of hits on this number. Everybody seems to be calling and pulling up lives because we got 4 programs. And so you're going to say, yeah, why? I'll pass you in over there for a fee. And we just want to make sure people don't get tricked. Don't get, it's not tricked, I guess. I don't know. Misled by that because this is your thing. He who would be food, let him, and some people think. I don't like that maxim, but it's a maxim. It's a Roman maxim. Yeah, it is. So I don't like that. That's why I don't like it, because it's a Roman maxim. But, so we just want you to know to please adhere to the new phone number directly. Do not go in and call the old number and then think that you got it back. So on the new form here, I still pretty good this everyone, but it's 319-527-6751. All right, and that's for all of our programs. It's on the site. I updated it. As soon as we found out that that's what was happening, we updated it. And so with that, tomorrow is Central. Oh my gosh, you two is getting ready to get worse. What about your own children? That's what is happening. You're not believing you're going to sit around and wait for it to come in your face. And you're not going to be able to handle it because man is not, and yours will be gone for real. If you don't wake up until your little sister to wake up, and your little daughter to wake up, and your little sister's daughter to wake up, and your mama and your grandmama, whoever you got to say, to wake up and take their place amongst your fathers. Man, it's not about the male and the female and what you do. This is serious. These people only make vultures or only like vultures because of our lack. Like you said. You know that? No one is really care. It's sensitive. It's just like that. It's not positive. Men, this is the show that they make money. It's off the paper. Here's the thing I just want to say. If we know that these people I'm telling you about it. Trying to find people that they carry them. But that don't mean anything right now. It's all part of the programming, don't you think? Because we want to find the magic bullet. That's it. You want to find the magic bullet because if you study, if you know, if you are and you are obligated to know law, that means you have got to study it. Not figure out how to get around it, but study it. And no one appears most to not study it. It's not their fault. It's just they still a school and they came up and they taught you that they study. And if we know that, then as you always say, what are you doing about it? It's real. You're not going to get a one-time fix this lifetime around because whatever you didn't get, you're coming back for it. And you'll be sitting there like we're sitting here now, looking in somebody's face and somebody looking in yours. Yeah, I kind of thought so. I knew that. My spirit told me that was right. Yeah, remember how it was a long time ago? Somehow I just still didn't correct it. Because this is a false reality that you're in right now. It's a matrix. It's like the only reason you're sitting here is because you need to sit here because you and I, both, all of us need to learn a lesson. There's other stuff going on right around you and you don't even know it. There's people effectuating what they have to do. But all you hear about is the ones who seem to be failing. Because you're a little too close to them, that's why. You see, the path is narrow because there aren't many on it. And once you get on that path, it's like I read last night, as lonely as it may be, it must be done. That is when you'll find the people in the same direction. You got to get on it, though. So, I'll see you next year in 7 days. And that's it. How many days in a year? I said this year in 7 days. How many days are there in a week? How many days is that in a week? How many days? You know, 15.
Hold on.
Here comes, okay. Somebody that says that 1 and 1 is 2, but 1 and 1 doesn't make you great. What you gonna say? Okay, so if I ask you how many moons there were in a month, then you could give me that equation. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. If I ask you about, like, for instance, what you said, I know what you're saying. We gotta be real cool. Like when a woman is pregnant, she's pregnant for 9 months, but right. But how many lunar months is different? That was what exactly. So I understand what you said, but I was asking for this lesson, and let me tell you why. Hey, he's shot, right? How many days in a week? How many days in a month? No, you already know. Don't you answer, Elvis? How many days in a year? Who's that 7? Okay, all right. Because if there was 365, you would be able to name them, right? Can you? Can you name the 7 days in a week? Can you name the 7 days in a week? Name them. Starting with what's the first day of the week? Sunday. And Moorish Latin, that people call Spanish, that's Domingo, because that's the Dominion. Right. And then you don't have to do the Moorish Latin if you don't know. Sunday, what's the next day? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going, they're going to get, okay, fine. That's named after the moon, Monday. What's the next day? No, okay. You call out the Moorish Latin. Somebody else call out to do it. This is how we're going to do it. You're going to start with Sunday, and whoever knows the proper name, which is really after a planet, right? Which is why, the 7 days, okay. You'll say the day that you know, and you are going to yell out the Moorish Latin for it. So how many days in a week, starting with the first day? What's the Moorish Latin one? Oh, thank you. You think it's correct in a minute. Next day? Mm-hmm. Next day? Yeah, Marquette. For more. Next day? New York. Okay, you want to do, all right, come on. Not only are we going to do the Mars Latin, we're going to start with the planet's name, which is really not a bad idea. You're going to say Mercury, you're going to say Mercules, and then say Mercury. Next day. Okay, but what's the day in Mars Latin? Okay, it's Uevo, but it's Jueves, but the J is silent. Okay, what's the next one? Friday. Venus, he said. Vienna. Next. Nobody said Saturday yet. Saturday. Saturday. What's the planet? Saturn. And then we start over again. Okay. So, man was born, formed in the flesh, on what day? Friday. That's in 101. He was formed in the flesh, and he departed from the flesh on Friday. You already determined that Friday is the Venus, which is the mother. The mother. That's it. All right. You already know. So the will of Allah was done in the womb. All right. So why is it that they say that man was formed in the flesh on Friday and depart from the flesh on Friday. Why? Anybody know? Nobody know? No? Do you know? You don't know? Who says? Oh, no, I know you know. Hold on. Yes. Are you asking the question? Oh, I thought you was answering it. Can you answer it? Well, I mean, you go ahead. The man was formed in the flesh on Friday and departed from the flesh on Friday but he was also formed in her womb. Is that what you were going to say? Please. No, I'm saying, why Friday was a holy day? Because man was formed in the flesh on Friday. They was formed in the flesh on Friday. Why? Yes. Unformed in his mother's flesh. Oh, okay, I misunderstood. Who is talking to you? And the Christ of the flesh. Okay, I didn't hear you tell such a thing. Do you see the message? You know, they're all connected. So the universe, to eternity, right? To the laws of the universe. That's what that means. All right, so after you said, I just wanted to say, and I will say it again. And I'll talk to this one that tells me the 1 and 1 is really 3 in a minute, because that's what he wants to do. We got to go now, but we're going to hear it until it's over 2 days. A day, I'm going to change you on that, the night and the day, the night and the morning. A day means degree, so it doesn't matter what it starts. A day is a degree in astrology. So I will say again, I will see you next year, which is exactly 7 days from today, on Wednesday. We will be here again next Wednesday. Islam. Hold on. No, we're going to talk to you about this. Oh, it's this way. This is the east. I got you. All right. You were rich before they left that stuff. Islam.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. Repeat after me. Allah, Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom. Justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
God.
My God.
And my salvation.
And by night.
By day.
And by day.
Who's a prophet?
Through his holy prophet. You are
also known as
Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Islam.